the center of freedom of expression, is it not? We were told by the police we could only have this demonstration if we walked single file, if we said nothing, and if we carried no signs. That's the only way we could have this demonstration at all that was planned weeks ago. So I think this is disgusting. And as I say, I think of the United States of America as one of the places that pushes freedom of expression around the world as a human right. But what have we got here?
What's blocked. I know people have been going that way and not coming back, so I'm thinking the Secret Service is going on.
Waiting to get through? Once you run around the corner, let her through. Let her through. Okay, go ahead. Go ahead. Okay, what I'm going to do is stop the traffic so they can get back and line up across there the way they agreed to do that. Okay? You can leave them on around. They gave it to all of us up there. What is it? They gave it to all of us up there. I don't know what it was. They're all folded up? Sheesh.
not corporate greed. Human need not corporate greed. Human need for all is very important. Oh, deep in our hearts, we do believe corporate need is not healthy for all the people. We do believe corporate greed must end very soon.
Good causes that we represent.
What did you notice about the police?
Well, the police keep coming up to me and saying we're doing a very good job. I've led the march, so we're doing a very good job. And they're very happy with us.
Hi, are you guys getting the reason for why we're doing the silent protest? Okay. No E's or Y's. No.
Is the blue tape?
A very tiny, hard to hear speaker on one of the police vans in the distance telling everyone that it was illegal. Couldn't be heard among the drums and in the circle of people on 6th and Union at all. I could barely hear it, and it was scratchy at best. And then the tear gas came, and there was no provocation for it, absolutely none.
What do you think some of the specific issues of the WTO, how is that going to affect the city of Seattle?
I wouldn't be the one to ask those questions to. I think that the city of Seattle is making a statement in a lot of different ways. A lot of us are saying different things. And many of us are trying to get a point across. Many of the women and men who are here today, they're from different countries who experience things in ways that we don't experience them quite yet. But if we allow that to happen over there and not be in denial about what's happening over here because of the WTO, we are not being responsible public citizens of the world.
Thank you.
My name is Joki Joroge Jehu, and I'm from Kenya. I live and work in Washington, D.C., but the concerns of Southern women are shared by obviously a lot of people, including men from the North and the South. And as you look behind you, you see that there are a lot of people wearing tape over their mouth. And it's really talking about how women's concerns are not heard, how women's voices are silenced. And it's one of the reasons why we are here in a very silent protest and witness that the kinds of trading agreements and trading priorities that are being set by the World Trade Organization, that have been promoted by the World Bank and the International Monetary Fund for the last 20 years or more, have really been about taking away women's rights, women's abilities to feed their families, to support their communities, to be able to have a livelihood with dignity. Women work very, very hard, and yet you keep hearing over and over that the majority of people who live on less than $1 a day are women, that 80% of the people who live on less than $1 a day are women. And we are here to say that that is not right, that is not just, and it can no longer continue to be that way. And if it does continue to be that way, that it will continue over the protests of women from around the world who believe that this is not the place of corporations, that corporations should not be ruling, that people's rights and people's values are the ones that should be the priority, not the rights of corporations to make a profit unfettered and over the lives and communities around the world.
Nice. Were you at the protest yesterday?
Yes, I was.
And what was your experience there?
I was in a part of the protest that was very peaceful, where people were articulating again their concerns about the global economy, about the World Trade Organization, about people who make decisions who are not elected, who do not represent their interests, people who make decisions in the absence of participation and transparency, people who make decisions that really do not benefit tens of thousands of people who are on the street. I think it's a very important message, and it's a message that is being echoed here and that has actually been echoed around the world in protests like this one and many others, because I think it's really the time for people who have seized this opportunity to have their voices heard. My experience was of people who marched with dignity and in resistance to corporate power and to the power of the World Trade Organization.
Did you find that most of the people at the protest yesterday were peaceful protesters?
Yes, I did find that was the case. In fact, this morning on my way walking over to the Methodist Church, I saw a lot of people who were wearing this poncho and who had other anti-World Trade Organization signs, cleaning the graffiti, making apologies for the violence that had happened, because that was really not what we had come here to say, that the kind of violence that was exposed yesterday on both sides by the police. I don't think there was any call for the police to fire rubber bullets on demonstrators. There was no call for police to behave in the way some of the images that we have seen. That's what governments that are criticized by the US government for violating human rights do. And this is the concern that we have, that in movements like this, the rights of corporations are protected, but the rights of people are not.
So they're one of the most revolutionary of all governments. And so for those delegates from South Africa, they want to speak out. And so we're going to draw together a group of them to speak.
Good for you. Here.
Okay. We'll let you know when it's going to take place.
That would be great.
May I ask you a few questions
Yes,
as
sure.
well? We're just going to ask your name and just your experience yesterday about the peaceful protests that you were at.
My experience, my name is Linda Wolf, and I am part of the organizing committee for the Women, Democracy, Sovereignty, and Development Day, of which we all are participating. And the peaceful protest that I participated in yesterday, it was on 6th and Union. It was the first, I believe, to be tear gassed. It's the one that's on the cover of the Seattle Post-Intelligencer today. And there was no provocation. If the only thing I can imagine in my mind as being the reason for them to have tear gassed the people who were sitting on the ground, old people, young people, peaceful people, singing and chanting nonviolent songs, was if they wanted to clear the road. They gave a 15 seconds. They gave a 15-second announcement on a squeaky microphone, speaker, off in the distance, saying that it was illegal, that I hardly could hear as a press photographer, let alone the people that were in the middle dancing and drumming. And then they immediately went for it. And I think that human nature takes over the minute someone starts being aggressive that way. And the aggression that the police showed, I think in many cases came from fear of what we were just there to do.
Do you believe the First Amendment was broken yesterday?
I do believe that, yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
Thank you.
We have no doubt in the Caribbean that the WTO is not good for us. We are perhaps the oldest globalized part of the world, 500 years of global activity. and we're on our bellies. The banana trade, and you will see, I say no to Mr. Clinton's bananas. Right? No banana republic. The republic is clearly Chiquita Dole and Del Monte. And this is not good enough. Many of our islands are built for the production of sugar and banana, both of which are under threat from the WTO because our markets are preferential. We provide only 2 to 3% of the banana trade of the world. Yet because Chiquita banana is a big donor to the US Congress, our markets must be closed down in the name of fair trade and WTO rules. This is not good enough. Women are dying, young people are turning to the only trade there is a real market for, and that's narcotics. The narcotic issue is becoming a big issue in the Caribbean societies, and that is that trade has to do with really the colonization of the world by corporations is worse for people, and it's going to be worse for ordinary people in the industrial societies as well, as it is. And unless they heed what the world's people are saying, then we are in for a very bad time in the next millennium. And women do not intend to just sit down and allow this to happen. You know?
Do you think countries your size are getting any voice here at all?
You know, you're here in your presence, but you have no voice really at these meetings. There's no pretense of democracy at these meetings. The powerful shall speak and the powerful shall rule. And the most powerful of the powerful, the United States, is who calls the tune. I mean, the conflict between Europe and the United States on the right of what to eat is only a small aspect of what is really the conflict about the right to grow food, the right to eat food. I mean, this used to be called imperialism in the old days. Let's not fool ourselves. This is now controlled by companies instead of countries. They're even less responsible. Those of us who have come out of colonization know this thing. We don't need to experience it anymore. We know it.
Well, I've been on several protest marches, and this is the worst. This is my city. I'm the state president of Church Women United. I don't like this. This is inciting young people because that's what they think is normal. With this police thing that looks like, gosh only knows. It reminds me of World War II. That's how old I am.
First time since Nazi Germany.
Do you think the First Amendment has been broken here in the past few days?
Listen, they can take our laws and break them. It doesn't make any difference. Yes, I think there are a lot of democratic principles broken in the last few days and brought on by the World Trade Organization. They have no business doing what they're doing, and it's absolutely silly, and they didn't know what kind of a city they were coming to. We have been a progressive city for a long time. I'm not sure if the mayor knows what he's doing or the chief of police.